I will make sure that the audio output is muted. Good evening, everyone, on this very, very wet, although now nice and dry outside Wednesday. You might... Monitoring is high. Yes, you might notice that Chris is not here. This is not Chris. This is American Chris, who we call John. John is from Mad Scientist Garage, and he has been over for the last week. Let's call it a week. Because we did the fun thing and we went to the Nurburgring for, what, 4 days? 4 nights, 5 days. Because they had a wonderful event on for their Whitsun weekend. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. 4 full days of racing, which then became 3 full days because somebody booked a track day on the Friday and they just, closed it. So, never mind. But yeah, we got 2.5 full days of racing. I say racing, driving. It's not a racetrack. It's a public road. It's a de-restricted, one-way public toll road. And it was great, except for the rain and the GTO brakes and the rain and the crashes. But, like, Sunday was great, right?
Yeah, and they weren't our crashes, so...
So we came away well.
Yeah, honestly.
Basically that. Yeah. So, yeah, you introduce yourself a little and what kind of dumb things you do.
Yeah, hi. I'm from the States. I met Adrian Duct Tape.
2018 Duct Tape, I think. The first time you did the Mustang LS swap, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, so I like to have fun with muscle cars. So this has been on my bucket list since I was like 10, because every car nut has played Gran Turismo. And
yours was what? Gran Turismo 2 you started on?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm dating myself there, but yes, absolutely. Yeah, I just generally like to mess around with muscle cars. So, doing things on a budget, which, you know.
So what cars do you have? Because you have quite the fleet. Like we have a fleet of things: the GTO, the Golf, the Thunderbird, the kit car, project car, whatever you want to call it. But you have more than that on the go currently.
I think I have 8. So there's the 57 Chevrolet, that 2-door car.
Which is what everybody wants.
Yeah, I'm going to ruin it.
Yeah.
There is the 71 Oldsmobile Cutlass hardtop. There's a 75 Pontiac Firebird, 73 GMC truck. I have what is ostensibly a Miata with a 70s MGB front clip.
Yeah, that's
and
the
a
entire
lift.
front end, like the bumper, the wings, the headlights, everything on this MX-5. Is the bonnet? No, the bonnet is MG as well, isn't it?
Yep.
All of this is gone. I'm going to see if I can find a picture of it.
It's my off-road car. It's on 28.5-inch mud tires.
Yeah. All of those panels went off, and somebody decided it would be a brilliant idea to just pop rivet the entire front clip from an MGB onto it, paint it British Racing green, throw a Union Jack on the bonnet, and then you bought it.
I actually painted it poorly.
Oh, did you?
Yes, that was the stipulation. I could have the car for free, but we had to paint it green because he needed to see it as a little British roadster.
Yep.
So...
let's see if I can find a picture of it.
It's like a 37-hour road trip after the paint was halfway dry.
There we go. So, It's a video from your Instagram, which is going to be deeply, deeply unhelpful.
Oh, yeah, that's probably not helpful at all.
Because unless I maybe refresh, in which case...
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is what the front end of that MX-5 looks like. And I gotta say, it doesn't look like an MX-5 from there. If that was coming up, you'd genuinely believe that was an MGB.
Here's a fantastic detail. Look closely at the Union Jack. What is that actually?
That's a bit more Rising Sun than Union
That's
Jack.
exactly what it is.
Yeah, although it does have the offset red in the white stripe, so it is kind of correct. It is a Union Jack, but it's so massively distended that, yeah, it does look a lot more Rising Sun, which, well done. That's a good sort of fusion between the MX-5 and the MGB.
I messaged Big Shot Sticker Company and told him what I wanted, and he made that. It's a pain, apparently, but it's super worth it.
If I go back on here, I can see some of your other things. Obviously, here are some pictures from...
Yep.
No,
oh, there's the hearse. I forgot about the hearse.
There is the hearse.
Yep.
Which is on what, 18s, 17s?
18s.
It is on 18s.
Yep.
Because what hearse doesn't need to be on 18s with like 2-inch lips? And you now have a coffin to go in the back of that.
Yep. Yeah, it matches the top. It's light blue.
Yeah, because how could you not?
Need a cooler.
yeah.
I mean...
And then
Cutlass.
there's the Cutlass.
Yep.
I mean, you can't see much of the Cutlass.
Which is for the best.
Yeah. That Cutlass looks like it's very blue in that picture, but it's not very blue, is it?
The roof is not very blue. The hood is black. It's beat up.
This is your jump truck.
I sold that, yeah.
Trophy trash, which
It still runs.
incredibly after not being built to jump, but
No,
jumping
not
anyway.
really. That's a stock Silverado. I just did that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
What else have we got?
What are we missing? I haven't posted on the Firebird in a while. I'm getting that put back together.
See, this is what a 57 should look like.
Yeah, and I'm taking some inspiration from the stance and styling of a gasser.
Where would I find
What
the
else?
rest of it? Oh, there's a better picture of the Cutlass. And
Yeah.
I say a better picture.
That's a really good picture
Yeah.
of that car.
It really shows off everything that it has.
Yeah.
So yeah. What else?
The white truck is mine. That's my 73 GMC.
That one.
Yep.
Nice. That's the kind of your daily part shop truck, really.
I blew it up.
Oh,
I blew it up on the way home from Vegas.
right.
Yep.
And isn't that what what it started as? The jumper.
Different truck. I've had two of them.
Oh, okay. That explains why I'm going.
Yep.
No.
The yellow car is the 57. You can't tell how bad it is in pictures.
There we go.
But
So yes, you can follow John on YouTube, Mad Scientist Garage, and all of the other various social media platforms under exactly the same thing, and see more of these builds. So yeah,
builds.
I mean, you're adding things to it.
Yeah.
Oh, there's the Punish Stang.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just checked through my pictures, and I think it must have been 2019, because when... In 2018, the first time we went to Duct Tape, it wasn't LS swapped, it was just that. It had the funky doors, funky bonnet, funky boot, but then the following year, if I can find where my mouse has gone, it got... Oh.
Yeah, we did an LS swap in what, 26 hours?
About that, yeah. We met up in LA to do the drive down from LA all the way to Duct Tape.
Yeah, you guys were late.
And Matt, who owns the Punish Stang, was in LA because he came up from San Diego. So he came up. Excuse me. He came up from San Diego to LA to join the convoy. And he had a Ford 9-inch rear end strapped to the top of the trunk, which meant every time he had to put fuel in, he had to take that off and unstrap it because the fuel filler is underneath the boot lid.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, so every time he needs to put fuel... I mean, he had a 289 Did it have a 289 in it? Yeah, it was a 289 in. And then even that's not very fuel efficient. So I think it's about a 400 mile drive, give or take, from LA all the way out to Tucson. So he had to fill up twice, I think, and not including the trip from San Diego up to LA. And yeah, every single time he had to take a complete 9-inch rear end off the back of the car, undo all the ratchet straps, lift it, fill it, strap it all back together again. And as a result, it took him so much longer, because he was meant to not do the convoy and was going to come direct. So you had all of Friday to work on the car.
That is not what happened.
Yeah, because duct tape basically starts Friday morning with people coming down for the test and tune, and they can do some racing and what have you. And the goal of that is to give people plenty of time to do stuff. And then the real kind of roadkill-y event is on the Saturday. The Friday night is very much a, hey, we made it in the convoy, woo, and we carry on. And the Saturday is when they do the Hoopty Challenge and they've started doing the Chevy shootouts and everything else. And yeah, he was meant to be there on the Friday and wasn't. And
I mean, he got there at like 8 or 9 o'clock. So we got so restless, we started the LS on the stand in the parking lot. That was a spectacle. There's video of this on my channel, so you can see all that. That was intense. And then we, what was that? 2 years, year and a half ago?
So the Turbo Bolt-On was after COVID.
Yeah, 2023?
Yeah.
22. It was 22.
Something like that.
Yeah, it was like September-ish. That was
because the first one after that, we couldn't make it because the border was still closed. We had tickets to it, and then we went out to 2023 zip tie drags, as it then became, instead of duct tape drags. Or was it the other way around? I can't remember. I think it's duct tape. No, it is duct tape drags now. It was zip tie drags before. So yeah, so then they went the other way. But yeah, so 2022 it got turboed. And how did that go?
Not well. So the car was involved in a flood, which, kind of per usual, we knew where we were starting and then it got worse. Yeah, the car was full of river silt, didn't run. It got into the housing of the rear end, the transmission, but bent both rear axles. And we also found out that week we were losing people from the crew that we were supposed to have.
Oh, brilliant.
So it's just 5 days to do 4L80 swap, different drive shaft, fix some of the suspension, turbo, like hot and cold side oil system, tune it, and get it to the track.
Yeah.
And
because where did you do the turbo swap? Because obviously
that was all at Hawk Speed.
Yeah, the V8 swap was in the car park at Tucson Dragway.
Yeah,
and then the turbo swap, it was Hawk Speed.
Yep, Hawk Speed and Custom in
was it.
Huachuca, Arizona.
So it was actually it wasn't too far to get to it, because I edited the video for that one, and like I remember watching through and going, so we've got 2 days to do this, and then there's one, it's like, there's a day 3. Why is there a day 3 intro where they're still working on? Oh, this has gone bad.
Yeah, just the geometry of Mustang suspension and problems. Just many problems. The car's been shortened. The car's been flooded, as mentioned.
Yeah,
and I
it's
think
been shortened and shortened.
Yes.
It hasn't been narrowed, fortunately, because then you wouldn't fit anything in.
If the car were dimensionally changed anymore, it would just be crushed. I say that out of love for Matt and the car both, but damn, there's not an inch of that thing we haven't touched.
I have, however, just found a picture of
Yeah.
the build.
Yeah.
So yeah, this was exactly how it went down. A couple of big tables. I don't know who brought the welder.
That would have been Amos.
Oh, okay. And then yeah, it all just kind of got thrown together in the pot. In fact, that's you
Yes, it is.
looking for something.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I was a gopher all weekend. I also spilled coolant on somebody's 200-mile-an-hour jacket. Yeah. There are some big L's that weekend.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to, but you know, in the scramble to yard sale the car, that's what happened.
So yeah, so that was how that came about, and yeah, it was during the build when we met, and then just kept trading terrible pictures. Oh my god! Okay, I've never seen that one before.
Yeah,
boy, you did a number on that.
Yeah, that was a gambler in Tennessee. Yeah, it was like $8 at the car wash before you could see the body again. It was bad.
And that's normally like a quarter at a time, right? You just kind of feed it till you go. Or?
I want to say it was like $2 got you a few minutes, and I had to swipe my card like 4 or 5 times. Yeah,
that's horrendous.
It was really bad. It actually broke the radiator. It was so hammered.
I mean, good effort though. Yeah. You know, if you're going to cover it in mud, cover it properly.
I drove that down a waterfall that weekend too. I watched the Jeep do it. If a Jeep can do it, I can do it.
And then there is pause. Oh well. There we go. There's an actual picture of the 57.
Yeah.
Now the 55, 56 and 57 is consistently an annoying one for me to try and recognise. The 57 has the 2 missiles on the bonnet, right? The 55 is what?
2-lane blacktop.
Okay, cool. Because that's the only way I can work out which one's which is from what it has on the hood.
Finnegan's car is a 55.
And I now cannot remember. 55 Chevy. Oh, 55 Chevy has the bird, the zoom-in bird on the...
Yeah, there's something similar on the 56. Tom Bailey has a really good example of that.
56.
Not Tom Bailey.
No, the 56 has it as well. Okay, that's just incredibly annoying. I thought I had a means to tell all 3 apart, and apparently not.
There are differences. The grills and fenders are all different between the years. The tubs are actually the same. So, yeah.
Chris, the green one, I assume is what you're... I mean, I say the green one, as though you can see that it's actually still green. That is an MX-5 that has had an MGB front end grafted to it with pop rivets.
I mean, the whole thing's a flip front. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. So it's quite convenient.
It's a race car.
But yes, Chris just asked in chat, it's like, what was that thing? Like, it's an MX-5, obviously.
It's the MG Beast.
Yeah, the MG Beast.
Yeah.
That looks bad. Is that when you...
I'm working on that video right now. Well, it has less oil pressure than I would like at this point. And the camera doesn't really do justice to how little of the road you could see. This is a nice section.
Yeah.
So, like,
okay.
Those are just all the flakes between my cell phone and the bumper that are, like, 6 feet away. Oof. That's
not great.
That's a 2-wheel drive truck. That was not fun.
Yeah.
Oh, and it didn't have heat. That was the other thing.
So you're in snow, what? 20s? 20 Fahrenheit?
Yeah.
Give or take? So
that's below like freezing, for sure.
-5, -6 Celsius.
Something like that, yeah.
Hello, Greg. Yes, nerds in the house. So now we have a few more people in. I'm going to make all of those go away and try and load up my external drive, because my external drive has the good things on.
Ooh. They're going to get the first taste of what our trip was like.
Yep. So this wasn't actually me driving. We decided we'd go out in the sensible thing first, given how wet it was, because we arrived and it was pouring down. So we went out in M, our patron come tech, who is over this side, who you can just see waving. And we went out in her, I want to say brand new Passat, but brand new to her. And is actually the most expensive car I've ever taken round the track out there, and that includes the Jag XKR that I drove in 2006, because at the time that was 17,000 second hand, and you also significantly more than that by double-digit percentages. And basically, I kind of coached Em round for the first lap to the effect of, you need to turn here, you need to turn left, turn right, don't turn in yet. There's someone coming past you in the rear view mirror. You can go flat out here if you really want to. Even in the wet, there are spots where you can absolutely go flat out, particularly in something that has good ABS, good tires, and traction control. So yeah, this is coming down through Sabine Schmidt's curve, and it was soaked. There were torrents of water running across that.
Did you not supercut any of my video over this?
No, I didn't get a chance to edit it out.
Oh, that's a shame.
So there will be videos to come, which is this lap. I'm sat in the front, Em is driving, and we suggested to John that it would be hilarious if he sat on the hump seat in the middle at the back. And even in these conditions, he was still pinballed from one side of the rear seats to the other. And then when I took the car out the second time, understandably did a slightly faster lap. I think my lap was 11:59.
You did 11:59 on your lap. I did
13:40. So this is a 13-minute, 14-second lap, having reviewed the footage after the fact. We did not have a timer going at the time because that seemed pointless, frankly. I did an 11:59, mostly because I was being a little bit more conservative in my braking. I was a lot heavier in my acceleration over sort of Quiddlebacker Hole, like down here. So my top speed was higher, and I was just trying to carry a bit more speed. I was also finding the edge of the tyre grip every now and again and just sort of tweaking it round, and it did fine. But having done a relatively sedate lap in the middle on the back, and then a slightly more pacey lap, you were not doing so well.
I don't get car sick, but if you've ever been ragdolled around the back of a station wagon, yeah, it was rough.
Yeah.
It was touch and go for a minute. I was like, you know what? That was like tilt-a-whirl levels of...
You were like, if we do another one, can I not be in the back? I was like, yeah, that's fine. We'll take the GTO out next. So yeah, we gave it like half an hour. And at this point, a lot more cars. This was just after the track had opened. We got there, and as I say, the 4 days. The first one was booked out as a track day. After it was all announced, it was meant to be 4 days of track, and then somebody booked out like the 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. So we got on track at 5:15, and the track closed at 7. And it had been raining all day. This is actually drier than it had been when we got there. It was tipping down when we got up in the morning. We trundled in at midday, went to the museum, had a look around, which is really nice. Had a nice day to just wander and kind of take it all in. And they had been lapping and lapping and lapping all day, and the track was still this wet. It was horrific. It did get better.
Yeah.
Over the next sort of hour and a half, we got a bit of sun in places, and it started drying the track out, but it was still sodden. And that is when we discovered that the GTO has an issue. And what we should have done was actually upgrade the brakes before we went, because the pads have... I don't know if they've absorbed moisture or they have something in them that's some contaminant in them that is boiling off. I assume it must be water because it's boiling off, but then pads get lots and lots of water in them. So how could it absorb all of this water? Because basically, yeah, Chris just says what we should have done could honestly be our catchphrase. That underscores the entire GTO trip through this, because we were pretty focused on making sure that it wasn't going to get turned away at the barrier, because the bonnet is faded and it looked pretty neglected. So we did a rattle can paint job on it the day of. You landed on the Wednesday, and then picked up the cans of paint, threw them on the car. It had just passed an MOT, so I was pretty confident it was going to be fine. I'd taken it around for some spirited driving in the countryside, and it had no issues whatsoever. So I was absolutely convinced this thing was roadworthy. This thing's going to be absolutely fine.
It was.
How bad could it be?
It was not track-worthy. That was
It was
the
not
problem.
track-worthy, and that was basically the issue. And Aid, who is currently in chat, Adrian Bourne, I was messaging him on and off, basically going, so, interesting problem. This car has been to the ring before when Aid had it, and it never had this issue, which is why I'm assuming this is a contaminant problem. In the pads, and basically you'd brake hard and you'd get, where are we up to? This is coming up towards This is coming up to Versifen. Yes, down. Oh no, that's Adno, just after Versifen. And yeah, we would get probably about 2 or 3 minutes before this, and the steering wheel was violently going back and forwards like this, and I was like, oh no, I've cooked the rotors. Everything is terrible. I mean, you drove it as well at that point, and it was aggressive.
Yeah. Yeah, and threatening to lock the wheels because it does not have ABS anymore.
Yep, I may have forgotten that the ABS was removed whilst we were out there, and went, it'll be fine. So we were trying to be we were trying to be gentle enough that we weren't going to lock the wheels up, because locking the wheels in the wet, going towards barriers, is bad. The steering, if we tried to put too much braking force in, was really, really bad. But we did discover that if you brake harder, it just holds the pads in, and they can't sort of rattle around. Whatever it is that's boiling inside it cannot escape, which is also bad. And the reason that we found that out was because there was somebody else with a red GTO with a blacked out roof next to us at the hotel we stayed in, which you went over and we saw it and we were like, do you want to park next to ours? And like, what did he say when you went over and asked?
I don't remember exactly. I think he was equally surprised to see another one of them. It's like, want to get a picture? Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
he was from
absolutely.
Denmark or something? Sweden.
Yeah, he was from Sweden. So there was another GTO there, and his was beautiful. He'd done loads of work underneath. He'd done loads of work underneath the bonnet, fixed loads of things. He had this aluminium or stainless intake pipe, which I have for this one because Aid gave that to me, but we haven't fit it. And yeah, the basic plan was, well, it seems to be fine. Let's not mess with it before we go. Because Chris and I once had to fit a new master cylinder to the A3 when we went to the Nurburgring the night before. Like, we were due to be getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning to get the ferry, and at 8 o'clock we had no master cylinder because we discovered that it was just descending to the floor. So we picked one up from Matt, who helped me did build the Golf originally, and then we installed that on the... that's that part of the video done. Let's put the next bit on. Nope, that's not the next bit. That's the next bit. So we went down, picked one of his spares up, came back, started it was a nightmare. So I decided I wasn't going to mess around the day before. That was a terrible, terrible plan, and we didn't need to do that. Chris doesn't even remember going... You don't remember going and picking up 2 calipers and a master cylinder in a Euro car parts bag the night before. Yeah, there you go. Now he remembers. So I didn't want to start taking brakes apart. And to be fair, it's a good job in a way, because we would have then tried to bleed the brakes, and then we'd have discovered what we discovered yesterday, which was that the bleed nipples at the back are extremely tight, to the point where you can't... we tried to put around... it's a 10mm, so my brake spanner is 9 and 11, which is no good. And then while you were in the car, I put the 10mm spanner on, and it just rounded off the hex on the top of it. So, yeah, we would have screwed ourselves if we had tried to do it. So I'm kind of glad we didn't. Yeah, pretty much, as Chris says, like, screwing a caliper the day before and just mincing the whole thing would have been really, really bad. And even with angry brake... I mean, I'm used to driving cars that have problems on the Nurburgring, because I have a habit of doing this. The Golf had a steering rack that was aggressively trying to kill you, because it would you needed about an eighth of a turn, which Ian discovered. As you rolled in and out, it had a little bit of torque steer because the steering rack was slack. And having driven it for 6 years, I didn't think to mention it because I just adapted. and then Rowdy was compromised because it was only 150 brake, and I wore the pads down to metal in a couple of laps because you couldn't turn the traction control off, and then we had to put new ones in. The A3, I forgot to turn the traction control off. That was the following year, and I wore a brand new set of pads down to bare metal in six laps, I think it was. We put them on, we drove there, we did 6, it was 500 miles to get from fresh pads to complete metal on metal. And we discovered that mid-lap when somebody who's in the back seat went, "Adrian, can you hear that grinding?" And I went, "No." "Oh yeah, yeah, I can." somewhere after the big hill climb, I was like, yeah, maybe I should take this lap a little easy with 4 up. So yeah. But how did you find, like, this is the first time you've been?
It was awesome. First of all, if you want to go, if it's on your bucket list, just make a plan and go. Just do it. I was like, it was incredible. It was everything I wanted it to be. The track's terrifying. It will kill me. You need a driving aid, and this is my aid.
I've become the driving aid.
Yes.
I'm not gonna lie. I laughed for way too long the first time you said that.
Yeah. You need one. Of course, you can buy a driving coach. They have all those. You can.
Yeah. I would put this out there. I am not a very good driving coach. I'm just good enough to make sure people don't hit a wall
Better than going in blind over Chris.
And that's basically it. It's things like just aim for the middle of the track over the crest and just trust me that there's an apex on the other side. That was a number of different times. And yes, Rowdy, four up, 7 arms in the air. We actually found that picture the other day. I'm not sure I could probably find it again. But we also found the video from many, many moons back as well, which is good fun. But I can't find the one from where we went through Adenau Forst. It's just on the approach coming out of Foxhole. Yes, as Chris says, the driving aid is stay flat, flat, brake, 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 turn in, flat, flat, brake. Basically it. I mean, I have 2 witnesses here that will attest this was exactly how it went.
Dab at the compression, lift off, brake hard after the brake.
Yes, it's literally just like dab before the crest, lift off the brake over the compression, over the crest, into the compression, brake hard through and turn in. It's fine.
I only almost spun the car once.
Yeah, I mean, and even that, it wasn't that bad. Like, we did see a couple of people properly bin it. We were down at Brideside, which is Adenau Bridge, and we were kind of on the top looking over. And as we walked past, there was 2 people. 2 people went round, somebody was offline, or the third person was offline, and all we heard was, and that was it. Everything was bad.
And that's the one section of track that's concrete barrier.
Yes, and there was basically, there's no grass there. There is concrete. There's the track, a curb, concrete wall, and nothing else. So yeah, we got to see the Bongard in action, which was quite interesting, and we got to see the Bongard drive away with one of his stabilizers still out, which was very, very funny. But yes, so how did you find it then? After the initial terror of, oh God, what am I doing?
I mean, I got to sit through a lot of... Pass me that, would you? Got to sit through a lot of just sighting laps, which was really helpful. But it's hard to remember 10 minutes of track, 10 plus, honestly, because it's 13 point some miles.
It's 20.8 kilometers. I think it's something like 12.8 miles.
Okay.
But that's the full lap. That's the full lap, and on the tourist days, all you do is bridge to Gantry, which I believe is something like 12 dead, or very close to, because you have a huge section of the straight, which is, you come around the last corner, and then you kind of cool down into the exit, where you come on and off at the new sort of, it's not the pits area, it's the ticketing and car park centre, because they used to do that up at the down at the GP straight, and that's just where some of the ring taxis operate from now. So yeah, But as you say, like it's a lot to try and remember, and the fact that I can just kind of go, oh yeah, that corner that's coming into or out of or is near has taken a long time.
There are. Is this attached?
No, there's a big one in a box over there that needs to go on the wall, which I got from Rive, who may or may not be watching.
Many of these corners will put the fear of death into you, like that one.
Yeah, so T13 down here, after that you basically, well, hang on, I'll put a video on.
I'm trying to telegraph some of these because the start's on this side.
There we go. So this is coming down from the bridge in towards T13. I think this is T13 up here. And you just kind of sweep left and hang around into the right. But this is almost a 90-degree corner, and there's no forgiveness. It's only Armco on the other side. This one has a little bit of run out, but by the same token, it's still a 90-degree corner, and then you come up to a blind crest, and you just have to hope that there's track on the other side, and you know where it's going.
Yeah, and you aim for the grass, basically.
Yeah, you aim for the grass and various other little bits. I think this is my lap in yours, because this is the second one on the card, the second one in the Passat anyway. So yeah, I think this is my lap, which you can tell my GoPro is doing some interesting stabilization because it's trying not to sort of calculate in the roll, and it's trying to stabilize the panning, which isn't great. I did manage to overtake this BMW, which is nice. But we had some great overtakes. What did you? You each overtook things, and I can't remember what it is anymore.
On my
first
lap, I overtook an RS3 that I chased for the entire circuit.
Yeah. M chased an RS3 for about half the track, and then eventually just got past it and just left him for dead, and you never saw him again. That was on your fast lap, which was 10:34, and it kind of.
That was only my third lap.
Third lap.
A bit dry.
It was largely dry. But there was still areas that were very, very greasy. Notably, Bergwerk was because it's always wet.
The last third.
The last third through the third gear section, it was bad. Misha was actually there. We saw him on one of the days.
Yep.
The Lotus Emira that he just reviewed a few weeks ago was there, as was the Ferrari 488. I could be wrong. I can't remember which one it was, but it's done in the Italian flag, so that was there. So yeah, there was lots and lots of cool stuff knocking around.
I overtook a car.
I'm pretty certain you overtook something. I can't remember what it was.
Doesn't matter.
But I remember thinking, okay, cool. Everybody overtook something on track. That is good enough. The thing that actually surprised me the most, in terms of things that we saw there, what was the most unusual thing that you didn't expect to see?
Chevy El Camino.
There you go. It was tall. It was on big, tall, like thick sidewall tires as well. Like they were not low profile.
They were like crappy 1982 American racing mags, like on skinny, hard tires.
Yeah.
That thing. We saw some video of it on track. It handles like crap.
Yeah.
Like it was all over the place. Just.
It hates turning.
Yep.
It hates gripping.
Oh, and it has no power. It's a 300 cubic inch or 305 V8 with probably, I'm going to say 180 horsepower on a really good day.
Yeah, it was not fast, but it was brilliant to see just tooling around.
So good.
My most unusual, I never thought I would see that here, wasn't one thing, but it was the 4 R34 GTRs that we saw across 2 days. Just parked up, and then they'd go out on track, and you're like, it takes long enough between seeing R34s that they are quite rare. By the third day, I just didn't care. Like, oh, it's another one. Oh, is it the same one? No, it's a different one. Yeah, of course it is. It's just another one. The single car that actually surprised me was an FD RX-7. That was very well set up. That was going hard. I didn't expect to see one of those. But yeah, it was weird. What about Em's on tech and has no mic, so she's going to have to relay her answer through me of the most interesting thing that you saw on track. And I'm pretty certain I know what you're going to say.
Well, for me, you know, it's going to be the STI.
Yeah, of course it is. The
Version 6 Type R.
a version 6 Type R homologation STI is
My dream car, other than a 22B.
Yeah, a 22B is basically
It's lottery money, but
yeah.
a V6 STI Type R Limited's about 25 to 40 grand depending on condition. I reasonably could dream to achieve that.
Yeah. And yeah, there was just one casually parked and then went out on track and diving around the place. It was impressive to say the least. Yeah, just there was so much stuff there, which is why it's great when you can go out on one of the big weekends because there's so much to see. You were enthralled by the Smart.
Yes.
And Aid is in chat who has the Smart Brabus.
That thing is cool. It's a shooting brake body style, smart running gear, rear engine. His was automatic, I think, wasn't it?
Yes, his was an automatic.
Well, you know, one strike. But still, like, I've never liked smart cars. This was like a sleek little roadster that would actually grip the track. It looked pretty fun.
Yeah. This one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks like a little TVR. It's cool.
This one has the notch back.
Yeah.
Which is the one that Aid has.
Yeah. It's cool.
And yeah, just so good. He was singing his praises, and you were surprised exactly the same way that I was when I reviewed Aid's one, which I still need to finish editing that video. How two of us, I'm 6'4", Aid's I think 6'2". Remind me, correct me in the comments, Aid. And we both fit height-wise and width-wise. Like, I'm fairly broad-shouldered. And there was so much room in this tiny little... it was amazing. I was so surprised. Oh, no, Aid is 6'4". I thought he was 6'3". Either way. But yeah, that was incredible. It still baffles me how they managed to be that size and so tiny, like the size of this table.
It's a well-engineered, as far as people fitting in it, it's put together. It's not like an accidental little kit that, like, oh, by the way, we need to engineer this so the seat goes far enough back you can have legs. Like,
yeah, exactly.
They didn't do that. They built a passenger compartment, and then they put things as close to them as they reasonably could.
Yeah. They built it around people rather than, as you say, building it and then just shoehorning people
they
into
didn't
what was
build
left.
a chassis and some of the bodywork and go like, I guess everyone who buys this needs to be an amputee.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. But yeah, we also saw two absolute heroes who took Ultima GTRs to the ring. Both had LS3s, which you immediately recognized. Like, yeah, it's an LS from the noise.
Yep. I heard it across the street. I was like, I think my hair is standing up on the back of my arms. I'm pretty sure that's an LS.
Yeah, pretty much.
Not many things sound like one.
No, they really don't.
The missing silencers on one of them.
Yeah, it wasn't. So it was the
Fireboxes were missing.
It was the very end of the exhaust on one of them wasn't poking through the mesh grills. We were like, I wonder what he's done to this. Like the one that was dead in front of it. In fact,
I think he just put turndowns on it. It sounded amazing.
Those two,
yeah.
Which this is going to play, which I don't particularly want it to, but we're going to have to just wait. So this one was 540 horsepower, and the one at the back was 525. But the one at the back, as I said, didn't have its trumpets on. And we were like, what did you do? Oh, I ran out of time to fit them, so I just didn't.
Yep. Yeah, they're in the front seat of my Skoda. I think that's what he said.
They are in the front seat of my Skoda. That was exactly it. But they drew a huge amount of attention when they parked underneath the sign, and then crawled out. So yeah, you can see complete lack of the back of the exhaust on that one. And then this nice little Porsche that rolled in as well.
Outstanding.
Just put the next video on the other part of the lap. There we go. So yeah, Do you have a favourite part of the track now, other than all of it? Like a most enjoyable section. It's real hard, isn't it? To actually like pick a piece. I'll relay for M once again.
Carousel.
Yeah.
I went full send on carousel. It was probably 9/10 the second time.
Yeah.
Like
I think you cracked 45 miles an hour through carousel, which is pretty good. Like that's going some.
it's about all you do in a heavy car on 235 tires.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
We did meet somebody out there once who had a moment, as he described it, where he decided that he would have it going into carousel, and he entered into it in his Lotus Elise, which it's nice, lightweight, good handling car. I managed to screw that up, and he entered it at 90. And as a result got spat out of carousel at pace. He, by some means, managed to get all the way around and didn't get thrown out into the trees. He actually got launched down the track sideways and slid to a stop, and presumably soiled himself.
Yeah.
This wasn't on this trip we met him. I met him, or somebody in our group met him quite some years ago.
I mean, just the sensation of the car leaving carousel correctly is a little terrifying.
Yeah.
Because
it's a jump.
I was already pretty close to matted when I saw the apex of the turn.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Yeah.
If you can get it right, it's fantastic. But because you don't want to go into the end of the carousel. It's a little over. It's not. I don't think it is fully 270 degrees of concrete wrapping around. It's probably 240 degrees, but you basically drop in over the edge, and then when you get to the other side, you kind of eject out the other side, which is, now I think about it, probably not far off in this video. I need to work out where this video is, of course. No, it's literally just before that in the other video. One moment, and I will find it. Yeah, through here. I don't know what let go or what that was in someone's engine, but it seemed deeply, deeply unhappy. So this is the approach up to carousel. You have these two apexes, which you just kind of straight line between, and if you do straight line them, that pretty much sets you up for where the drop-in is. And that's it. You just kind of drop straight in there, and then the GoPro gets really upset and looks to the wall instead of looking further ahead because it doesn't know what's going on. And you don't quite make it out the end because you want to be going across the track towards this apex. Unless you're overtaking this BMW. In which case you need to use a little bit more. Let's see. So this, I think, this was the first lap in the GTO when we discovered the angry steering.
And the slide.
And it probably has something of the slide in it. Actually, no, I don't think the forward-facing camera was on for the one with the slide.
Really?
Nah, yeah. I locked it up coming down towards Brightside, and I don't think the forward-facing camera actually had it on. Yeah. That could have gone better, if I'm brutally honest.
Wasn't that also the only place I ever got the ABS to kick in on the...
Yes, I think it
second
was.
lap when we were all out.
Yeah.
We were both going down. And it was slippy, so
Yeah.
your brakes didn't like it, and
Yeah.
the Passat decided, save these people.
Yeah. Although I did enjoy your third lap when the Passat got really, really angry about the fact you were catching up to people. Such as the RS3 that we were chasing, and every now and again it would just illuminate up the dash with, no, you're going to crash, like trying to assist in the braking to stop you crashing. Like, no, we know, they just suck. It's the difference.
I shit you not, I literally found when I got home, there's a setting
the
in
button
ESC
to turn it off. Yeah.
to turn off that. Where it goes.
No, I know where that setting is. I just forgot.
But why would you put the car into sport mode?
Yeah.
Does it not turn that?
Yeah.
Even though it calls that ESC Sport.
Yeah.
What bullshit?
Yes, so AIDS just looked up on Google Maps. Yeah, the drop in, drop out isn't far off 100 degrees, and yeah, the full concrete is probably closer to 200. I think it's certainly in the ballpark of that, but you don't want to do all of the concrete. And the reason that so interesting one of the why that concrete's there, it was never part of the original track. The track is the asphalt that goes around the top. And where that corner is, people just kept cutting it slightly and cutting it slightly, so they would wear down next to where the track is. And then they learned that, well, if I just hook my wheels into that and I go round, I can go round faster because it acts as a rail on the inside of the tyre and it just launches you round. So like, okay, well, fair enough. So they concreted it. So that it had a runoff and everything else, and it wasn't going to be a problem. And people just kept doing the same and doing the same and doing the same. And now that section of I mean, it's been that way since the 60s easily, but fairly early on, people started doing this, and yeah, the concrete just started getting deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper, and now you can fit a car in it. So at some point in the 50s, I think, they basically went, well, we'll just concrete it and then put a curb up the inside as well so that they can't keep hooking their wheels in because they'd have to go up over, and that's going to be terrible. But yeah, it was really, really bad. That's why it's there. It's because people kept cheating the corner and making this ditch worse and worse and worse. Which is, yeah, it's certainly a choice.
It's not a problem, it's a feature now.
Yes, it's not a bug, it's a feature. I don't know. I mean, given the cars are only going out, so I just asked, they can't tarmac it because it would be too soft for the forces. But it's only, you're realistically only doing 50-ish miles an hour if you are in a full track spec car. Like, we were chasing GT3s through there and holding pace with them, going around the inside. And if you look on the racing videos, they're not going abnormal. They're not doing 100 miles an hour around there. There's not the grip, the lateral grip for a start. So I don't think it's a problem of the tarmac taking the compressive forces. You could probably build that up with enough padding underneath, but considering it's meant to be a drainage ditch and it fills with water when it gets particularly wet, I don't know how the tarmac would cope with that, and then getting like a small crack in it somewhere and then freezing, then it would split. Concrete's just easier and faster to replace, probably for the amount of times that they have to replace it, but I don't know, frankly. It would be nice to ask them. I don't think we'd ever get an answer, but it'd be cool if we did. So this is Carlenhard. I have previous with this corner. On on my second ever lap, I spun out just here before this barrier was put in, and reversed back towards the hill. That was in my Audi 80 that I just got from my dad. Yeah, I damaged nothing. But it was on some proper ditch finders at the back, which was not great. But yeah, so I'm always a little bit cautious about that corner. I have previous, at least one other person I know has also spun their car out there, I think. I'm still confused why people go so tight through miss, hit, miss, other than when you're overtaking someone and you kind of have to. I always stay out, Versifen. I always stay out really, really late, and I find it's a much better line. You get a much straighter run through the curbs. But, yeah, a lot of this lap, by this point, was trying to work out what the hell the brakes were doing.
Here's the concrete the guy hit.
Yeah, he hit here. The following day to this one, admittedly, so not all of those are his. But yeah, we spent most of this lap, the back half of this lap, trying to work out what the hell was going on and what it could possibly be. And we're going, we've cooked the rotors, we cooked the rotors, we cooked the rotors. And yeah, then we came off, we did the cool down, and everything went away. There was nothing. straight as a die, no wobble in the brakes, hard stops from like 80 miles an hour on, private roads, was absolutely fine.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a difference between you or I driving. It
No.
just, consistently did it. And the chap that we spoke to from Sweden who had one, he was just like, yeah, I just pressed the pedal harder. And he, on the Saturday, which was wet, because we met him on the Saturday night, he did a 9:34, I think he said, in the wet, just angrily pushing through these juddering brakes. And I was just, you know what? No. I'm happy to know that car is capable of a 9:34 in the wet, and I never have to do it myself. If we'd had more time dry and the brakes had been doing, in the wet. Well, okay, maybe not in the wet, but certainly in the damp. Like, not actively raining, but yes, he does in fact still have the ABS in his, so he has a little bit more confidence in it.
And he reasonably maybe drove it like he could afford to lose it.
Yes, yeah.
It's like, I'm looking at an Evo 8 on my way home. Like,
yes.
Oh.
Yeah. He was,
He's fine.
After I leave here, I'm driving somewhere, and I might be selling this or trading it for an Evo 8. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, fair enough. That's a bold thing to do. With hey, this car that I might be trading in, let's take it to the track
and ring a 9.5 minute lap on the Nurburgring out of it. Yeah.
So yeah, that was quite something. But yeah, so when we got back, we did the smart thing, and we went to actually look. Yeah, as I'd say, losing the car isn't the problem. It's the barriers and the track. On the Sunday, when the sun came out and it was much drier, there was at least 2 big closures. One was 2 hours, and one was an hour before we left to start heading back towards the UK.
It was Monday.
So that was 6 hours of open track time by that point from 8 o'clock, and 3 of them were closed because people had binned it hard in places. So yeah, it was.
I suspect that there was more than one car involved as well, because the police had to.
Yeah, the first time we went out, the first one of those two, with the 2 hour closure. Yeah, as Em says, I agree. I think it is something involved more than one car, because they shut the whole track. There was no, there's a warning, or there's an oil spill, or this corner has a yellow flag. It was just track closed, everybody bailed, and then the police came down and went out on track, and the police drove to wherever this incident was. So there was no messing about whatsoever. And then, yesterday we came back. We went through the box of spares and miscellaneous parts that Aid gave me with the... No, because if that happens, they have to close the track for 24 hours. So it definitely wasn't a corpse, which is what Chris just suggested, the full course red. No, just if it's bad enough and somebody has wrecked hard enough that there's no safe way for people to get by, or for them to be directed down through a yellow with one lane, or the barrier damage is so significant they have to take out so much that the track is no longer safe, that's a course red. But yeah, if there's a fatality, then they have to close it for 24 hours, which which is unofficially, should I say, why people didn't used to die on the course, but the roundabout outside the ticketing centre was horrendously dangerous, statistically speaking. Lots of people didn't make it round the roundabout. That's kind of bad. You're really just sort of prioritising keeping that open over people that died, and wow. Oh dear. So yeah, not great. But that didn't happen, because the track opened again a couple hours later, and then there was another crash, and I didn't see the police for the second one. Em did apparently see the police for the second one, so yeah, great. Incompetent people just ruining everybody else's day.
And it wasn't me.
Yeah, it wasn't any of us, so I wasn't happy, but I was very grateful not to be involved in any of these wrecks.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was not a good Monday. I mean, it would have been nice to have more time on a dry track, but the number of people that were just going for it really hard, that would have been a nightmare for you two to be driving on, because people would just be coming up and just absolutely not a care to give just, I paid for the track, get out of my way. Yes, we all paid for the track. Everybody has fair access to the same racing line, indicating as a courtesy, not a requirement to let people through. There is no blue flag on a tourist day.
Could
So-
I have got closer to a 10-minute lap on that Monday if I had really gone for it?
M's
Oh,
asking.
Yeah,
Would
and
it have been worth it though?
yeah, I'm saying could she have improved on the 1034? Absolutely, because you had at least one yellow.
No.
Was
I-
it 2 yellows on yours?
No, that was the wet laps.
Oh, it was the
No
wet
yellows
ones.
on the fast. But it's just from confidence and knowing the
Yeah.
circuit better.
So I think with another couple of laps, you probably could have got into the 1020s quite comfortably. But there is a huge amount of superstition around it. You never I'm just going to do one more, because I've seen somebody wreck a rented 2-week-old 997 turbo because they went out for. Oh, you can apparently be heard quite clearly, so I guess that must be picking up something.
That's impressive. I've got the boom mic turned off, so my voice is just carrying into your two mics.
Yes, I mean it's echoey enough in here.
Okay.
So yeah.
In fairness, the tech in here and the audio in here is cobbled together somewhat.
I don't know what you mean. We should probably have a tech mic over there at some point.
There is a tech headset. I just forgot to bring it,
Yeah,
which would have given me its own mic.
yeah. So yes, so we came back and we went through the box of things because I'd said I'm pretty sure there's a pair of pads and there's definitely a pair of discs and a pair of calipers. I would like to ask you, Aid, did you buy those second hand to put on and they were already purple? And at which point, who paints a pair of calipers purple? Like, it is a bright, vivid purple, and that is a choice. Because we opened up the bags with them in and went, oh my god. I mean, green and purple are opposite on the colour wheel, so like the green stuff pads, fine. Yes, they were in fact already purple.
Yeah, that was a real Barney setup going on with it.
Yeah.
Did you get Barney over here?
Yes. Yeah.
An annoying dinosaur.
Barney the dinosaur.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
But yeah, so then we lifted the front end up and started pulling bits off to swap discs and pads, because obviously what you do when you come back from the track is you put all of the upgrades on that you had available to you before the track. Yeah, red and purple is not a good color theory combination there, Chris. Green and red are are they? Green and Oh yeah, it is yellow and purple, isn't it? It's just, I don't use purple a lot. What can I say?
It's not a good color for brakes.
No. And then we took everything apart on the front, and then discovered that we couldn't actually bleed the brakes, which is also why we decided, shall we do one more lap? And then definitely didn't, because all of that pad, we must have burned away so much of those pads, just angrily braking, because we gulped down probably a quarter to a third of the fluid above the minimum line. And then all of a sudden, when we were about ready to come home, with like an hour's leeway before we needed to leave to make the train, the pedal on the GTO just went, oh, now I'm working, and had full brakes here, but all of this did nothing. And it seems that we went down, we had to hard brake because a van just parked in the middle of the road in front of us and then decided to put his indicator on.
I have that on dashcam.
Yeah, that's on dashcam, so we can verify that he definitely didn't indicate early enough. So as we did that, and then we went on further, and we're like, oh, the brakes are not much. That's weird.
When you guys swerved left to avoid going into the back of them, all I could see was, I knew there was bikers coming round the other side.
So fortunately,
and I was like, oh shit, this is about to go wrong.
Yeah, so fortunately I could also see the bikes. And I could also see that they were also trying to turn right into the same place that the van was going in. So I knew I had the better part of 3/4 of a lane that if I really needed to, I was slowing down. It was slowing. But if I really needed to, I could like slide around the side of the van a little bit and dip in if I absolutely... And I would be that English prick who just overtook into the other lane. But... that was not what I was doing. It was a transporter, wasn't it? It was a VW transporter.
Something.
It was about the size of one. So
Yeah,
whether
certainly.
it was one or not, it was that size.
Medium-sized van. And yeah, he just kind of slowed a little bit, as though he was going to do just coming over this crest. That was fine, and then just slammed his brakes on and then turned left. Which was not helpful because I was trying to be very gentle on the brakes because they weren't doing as well as they were at the start of the weekend because we were now 7 laps deep, so they were starting to have a bit of... the pads were starting to go, basically.
9 laps.
In that car?
In the GTO?
We only did 4 in mine and we paid for 13.
Oh, no. We must have done more than that.
I drove
Oh, no, you
mine,
did
I
you
drove
did
mine
3,
for
I did
3,
1.
and you drove it for 1.
Oh, no, yeah, okay, sorry. Yeah,
So
You sure it wasn't 5 laps in the...
Oh, no. It was...
yeah, because we've got all the dash footage, so we know, yeah.
We did. I drove
Still,
one, I drove
so
one
after-
lap Friday. He drove 1 lap Friday.
Yeah.
I drove 1 lap Saturday and then 1 lap Sunday. That's it.
So yeah, you did 4. So you did 9 in the GTO. You did 3. So I did 6. Yeah, that tracks. I can. Yeah. Oh, that's why I'm missing a video from the ones I've already pulled off, which is why that's not making sense. But yeah. So yeah, after this sudden hard brake, which was fine, then the brakes didn't do anything, and I think it just sloshed all of the fluid forwards. And took a big old gulp of air. So we bought some .4, threw that in, and everything came back, but it was still a little bit spongy.
Yeah. Just needs a bleed. It'll be fine.
He just sent me a... I would love to grab the Honda CR-V video, but Facebook has just decided that it's... Oh no, it was going to shut itself. It's unavailable because the video is private, so you're going to have to either unprivate it or add the PedalBox account to it. But the... what was I saying? I've completely forgotten.
.4
Yeah,
brakes.
so we ended up topping it up, got most of the braking force back, but it was spongy where there was obviously a very small air bubble in it somewhere, and drove home, and everything was fine. That is quite the insect that is right up in that camera spot. Was this? I take it this must have been on a time lapse. Oh boy. Please hold whilst I just move this over here. So this is from Aid's dashcam. Is this in the... I presume this must be in the black GTO from when you went over. It looks vaguely GTO, and this is presumably a time-lapse because that is some fast moving. But yeah, there is a Honda CR-V, which just keeps coming. And I'm assuming you were doing a spirited pace on this particular section of de-restricted road. 130 travelling south from Berlin. And your man is still indicating, as you can see, having moved all the way to the edge of the lane. So he's coming. And yeah. Yep, that's exactly the right level of I think I'm going to die.
On the de-restricted sections we were on the way back, I did stretch the Passat's legs to see where I would get to.
Where did you get to?
140 indicated.
That's not bad. So yeah, so 140. I'm a leaf on the wing. Well done, Greg. Yeah, so you got 140 out of yours. My previous my Passat, which was the version before yours, or actually no, probably one before that. So I had a 2006. I had 135 on the not quite so de-restricted roads through France. But the statute of limitations on that have well passed now, because I think that was a good 7-8 years ago.
Don't they like beat you with a baguette or something if they catch you speeding that much in France?
Now if you get caught speeding in France, one, the fines are astronomical. And
Yeah.
two, they will drive you in a police car to a cash point
Yep.
and make you withdraw the money and pay them there and then.
Yep, one of my friends had that. He was pulled over and he got driven to an ATM in order to pay up. And I think they wanted €400 from him on spec at 9 o'clock at night on a Sunday, which none of the banks were open to transfer anything. He had no signal in order to try and transfer anything. So, yeah, not great. Not great. The most surprising thing that I found with that GTO was the fuel economy. We got all the way from Nurburgring back to the UK to within 4 miles of home, 5 miles of home, on a single tank of fuel. And I don't know how that thing did it. I know we were very gentle and our cruise was very, 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 very limited. But
all the cargo was in the Passat for the top
there is also that. I mean, on the way out, we filled it up in Belgium. We calculated the speedo is overreading by 10%. So the number of miles that it has driven is obviously logging over by 10%. So it was showing 323 miles for 10.4 gallons. If you knock the 10% out of that, that's 29 miles to the gallon out of a twin-turbo V6. It's ridiculous. I was so pleased. And we got better than that on the way back, because, as I say, we made it to within 5 miles of home.
I mean, it's when it's not under boost, it's just a 3-liter.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, the gauge. What is that's what I wanted to check. What is centimeter Hg as a unit? Centimeters of mercury at 0 degree pressure. Okay, fair enough. So we were making 30 centimeters of mercury. I'd much prefer a better unit to describe this.
Convert that to PSI or bar.
To PSI.
That's my measurement right there.
0.02 pounds per square inch. Under vacuum. So we were doing reasonably well in vacuum. The vacuum gauge on the car goes to 60, and that's where it generally sits. So I guess that's 0.4 psi vacuum, and we basically cruised at 0.2 psi vacuum on the boost gauge as much as possible. We just put it on cruise and just left it at the maximum setting that the cruise would go to, which, as far as it was concerned, was about 80 miles an hour, and as far as the GPS was concerned, was about 67, 68, 69, depending on the hill. And yeah, I couldn't believe we got 29 to the gallon out of it. It was unreal. And
it's a fantastic car, and I say this. I own one import car in the States. One. I own a Mazda.
Yeah, you have an MX-5.
That's it. That's it. Everything else is American car, V8, everything. So, fantastic car. You have all-wheel drive, 6-speed, twin turbos, and it's not a car that's crazy like Supras or R34 GTRs. You can and you could get them in the States. Like, it's actually a great enthusiast car.
Divided by 60. So coming back, bearing in mind we were a little bit more spirited a couple of times once we got back into the UK, coming up moving through traffic on the 20 and the 25, the M20 and the M25, we still got at least 27 to the gallon, assuming that the capacity of the tank is correct at 75 litres. And I'm fairly certain at some point somebody has tried to raise the back of that car and use the fuel tank, because there is a dent right in the middle of the fuel tank at the back, which, yeah, that's a bold move. I'm just going to raise this 2-ton car on an empty box. Like, sure. Aid is very happy to sell you the roadie.
No,
It's only
cool,
small.
though.
It would take up very little space in your garage. You could hang it on the wall.
No more. No mas. No. It's a lovely idea, but I have so many to finish right now.
So yeah, I was genuinely amazed we got as good as that. You got
On the way out, I got 59 and a bit.
Yeah, 59 to the gallon on the way out there, carrying a bunch of stuff in the back as
And
well.
on the way back, carrying everything,
yeah.
it still got 56 and a bit.
Yeah, and between arriving at 59 to the gallon and then doing 4 laps, we managed to beat that MPG down to 43 to the gallon, including the average of driving we drove 400 miles, set a beautiful average, and then beat it down to 43 in 4 laps.
I don't remember what the first lap was. On my second lap, the MPG for that lap read at 18 and a half.
Yes,
And
I thought you had.
every-
Didn't you have 16 at one point?
That was on my third lap. On the driest
The
lap.
third lap in the dry, you managed to get a
got-
2-litre diesel to do. Admittedly, this is a 2-litre diesel which has a boost gauge in the settings and a G meter, which I just think is hilarious. But the boost gauge shows 2.2 bar at full chat. I was like, damn. Okay, fair enough.
For a 2-litre diesel, it does have 190 horsepower.
Yeah. The
That-
GTO has half a bar of boost in it. That's all it uses. But yeah,
So yeah, that was 16 and a bit MPG it got on that one.
yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't exactly throwing you under the bus. I trusted you more, Aid, to have not used the fuel tank as a jacking point. He also used the rear diff, so we did well there.
No, that's standard for a
Yeah.
car. The rear diff will lift the whole arse.
Yeah. It's always a little concerning when they're very small and it's an aluminium housing. I just have there's just a little bit of pucker to it.
I have lifted Imprezas
Oh,
at
yeah.
both ends. One under the gearbox and one under the rear diff, and that will lift an Impreza clean up.
I mean, the Thunderbirds gets lifted by the rear diff all the time, but you know, it's a
It's a
9-inch.
it's a nodular iron 9-inch.
Exactly, it's an enormous slab of iron.
That's not a diff, that's a girder.
Yeah, what's that? A girder.
Oh, fuck you.
A girder.
Can you just say, I want my swamp back one time?
Alright, you pricks, I want my swamp back.
Yes. My life is complete. I just blew out the audio and I don't care.
So yeah, I was genuinely impressed that it did so well for that. Yeah, as I say, just the aluminium housings always give me that little bit of pucker because I know they'll be fine.
I
but
think you meant aluminum. I keep hearing
there was a moratorium on this. You got Americanium named. And
Yeah,
you
we did.
agreed to spell it right.
And then we didn't.
And then you didn't. Damn it.
Yes, when you've got to name an actual element after your country, you give up all rights to the name aluminium.
Literally, there was a genuine agreement where everybody signed and went, yes, this is exactly what we're going to do.
Aluminium.
Anyway, we're going to do this aluminum thing. And the rest of the scientific community just went, let me put on my angry eyes. Yeah, pretty much.
You know, there's one scientist in Alabama that's like, hell no.
Yeah. And it spread.
I ain't pronouncing anything like that.
So yeah, but we managed to do all the GTO stuff yesterday. We got the new we put the groove discs on. So if we do get a chance to take it to a track at some point, that'll be nice to see whether or not we can make it do the same thing. If not, then we know we fixed it. So it sounds like we have to go for testing at some point to prove that we fixed the problem. Which would be nice. But it now has some green stuffs in, some grooved pads. Here's an interesting one for people who are watching. When you have a set of wheels, a set of discs, and if they're travelling, this is awfully convenient, if that's the front of the car and you have grooves on your disc that are slanted, would you have them pointing backwards or forwards? I'm I have my opinion on what I've always done, but I've seen both ways round. Is there any tangible reason that you've ever come across that it should be one way or the other? Because I haven't, other than, personal preference. So we fit them with the grooves pointing forwards. I guess it kind of, I don't know. It feels like it would be more aggressive, but to like shave the pad. But
It's top to bottom or bottom to top.
Exactly. There's no logical thing. It just feels. Yeah, I don't know. I literally I can't place it. I can't justify it. It just goes, yeah, that seems like it would be better, and I don't know why. Because then I sit back and I go, but it shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter at all. As Chris says, like, it shouldn't matter.
If the grooves are meant to remove pad material, it's meant to
like deglaze effectively, because the pad will move into the groove ever so slightly in theory, and it will take off whatever has been glazed if there is enough room.
It has the most leverage farthest from the center of the wheel, so pointed forward.
Yeah,
you are initiating the deglazing with the most torque.
Yeah. But even then, at the bottom, it would still scrape across the entire pad. And as I say, I have no good reason to believe that it is better one way or the other. It just seems better, in inverted commas. And couldn't tell
the
you.
basis of all my science is not usually fact or good planning. It's for fun.
Yeah, nobody knows brakes are magic. Pretty much.
Yep.
I hear the grooves are there to release any boiled water and bind it. And yeah, pretty much the boiled water is what we think is what was causing the angry brake judder, so that kind of makes sense. Aid also said, did you keep the calipers? Did you change the calipers for the purple ones? No. We just switched out the pads for the green stuffs and put the other discs on and threw it back together again, which was a nice quick fix because it was raining hard. And actually, it could have been worse, like it was today. But yeah, it was raining. Actually, it wasn't raining hard. It was raining for long enough. It was unabating for about 5 hours of just constant light drizzle. So by the end of the day, it felt like it had been raining hard because we were wet through, and it was awful. But yeah, so we got all of that switched over, went to bleed them, and discovered that the nipple at the back is rounded over. So a 6-pointed 10mm socket will still remove it, but an open-ended spanner will not. And we didn't want to keep going and going in case we completely destroyed it. At the moment, we can still take that out, put some new ones in, and we're fine. But yeah, that was awful.
Put it in with some anti-sneeze this time.
Yeah, pretty much. I bought the purple ones because I thought they were the uprated ones, but it seems the car already had them. Yeah, because the car currently has 4 pots on, and it did come with single pots from the factory. So yes, there is a spare pair of 4-pot GTO brakes, which I could, in theory, wire wheel back to a normal colour and then paint. And I would feel less bad about palming those off onto someone, or swap them out again at a later date before the car gets moved on, which would be fair. And then after doing the GTO stuff yesterday and fixing that, we then moved on to the Thunderbird today because, secret weapon, American working on American car. What could be better? Well, it turns out you're not expressly Ford.
No, I own 0.
Yes.
They're great cars. They're very solid. Ford 9-inch is great. 390 FE is great.
Yeah.
It just weighs a zillion pounds.
Yes, it does.
And there are things about the design that I don't know and or like.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Like the firing order. Why?
I will admit, the firing order is one of the more confusing things. I don't understand why they decided to change the way well, not just that, the way they decided to change the numbering point where it starts counting from to be on the other side of the engine from everybody else in America, and why the firing order is so different.
Yeah.
But I'm sure they had a reason. It may or may not have been good, but whatever.
Everybody else does odd on one side, even on the other. They're 1, 2, 3, 4 in a
So
straight
it goes
line.
1, 2, so if you've got the V like this, it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So
Yep.
1 and 8 are at opposite corners, which is
Yep.
fine. They decided to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 at opposite corners. So there's no tangible reason why you would pick either or.
They both make sense, but it's annoying to me that...
It's annoying that they didn't have a unified system.
I wonder if it has something to do with the flatheads, because they were one of the first companies to really be selling V8s.
Yes, yeah,
Commercially?
they did the V8 with the flathead. But so that would make them first, and therefore I wonder if the flathead actually has the same thing.
Does it depend if it was two inline fours bolted together and somebody went, that's 1 through 4, then 5 through 8, compared to a full V, where following the crank order, if it's single crank, you are still going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in a straight line. They're just intersecting 12 leather to fit closer.
So the
Or is that too much like logic? And
well, no. So
car people applying that.
the flathead, because it was the first V8, the first sort of passenger car V8. It was kind of, we just take two 4-cylinders and kind of put them together, and the flathead is exactly that: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I can see where the logic comes from.
So they probably just kind of recycled some
Yeah.
some logic from the old 4-cylinders that people would still understand, even though it doesn't make sense in order of the crank journals.
Ford cylinder numbering versus.
Is that single crank though, even though it was two block?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they rebuilt the whole thing. They started doing 4 cylinders, and then they went, "What if we put 2?" I'm like, brilliant.
Whereas now we cast it to be the full 8 straight off the bat. And we also offset them to allow them to be closer together at the crank. Yeah. So that's where the odd and even numbering would have started.
This.
Don't worry.
Based on what?
Is working. Aid is just suffering his own buffering problems.
Yeah, the stream is working. Aid is not. The thing is, so I just looked for Ford cylinder numbering versus Chevy. You'll find this result surprising. The Chevy 18436572 firing order and Ford 15426378 firing order is the same cylinder sequence as the other.
So the crank and cam grinds are ostensibly the same.
Yeah.
However, the way that they labeled their cylinders is different.
Yes.
So, yes.
But that really hurts my brain.
Yep.
I hate it. I hate it, and I'm going.
I didn't even know that.
And I'm going to pretend like it didn't exist, and I'm going to move on with my life. So we did Thunderbird stuff today, and it looked like it was going to be a little bit drizzly, and then it rained hard. But we had one day, obviously engine off, we need to cover up, so we put the gazebo out, fine. Turns out, yes, the gazebo does get waterlogged, because you got rained on from underneath. I got rained on, the camera got rained on, only very mildly, but yeah, not great. And we did, what did we do? Oh, we reseated the carb, because you pointed out that we hadn't actually put any gaskets down yet.
Yep. So, I mean, there's the starter. We made gaskets for the carb.
Starter is, but Chris will be thrilled to know that the starter works for one. You brought that in luggage. As much as they claim that is a 4-kilo starter motor.
No. No, it weighs like 15 or 20 pounds. Whatever that is in metric.
That's going to be like 7 to 9 kilos. Which, yeah, again, I would totally believe. I'm going to weigh the old one, actually. Because that's obviously off the car. What was wrong with the starter? We don't know what was wrong with the starter, but we connected it up again to the battery to do a test. And all we got was smoke and sparks, again, from the terminals.
This falls in one of my mottos very perfectly. Everything is a smoke machine if you operate it wrong enough. And something with the brushes and things inside is...
At some point it will be taken apart, and we'll look inside it, and I might try and buy a rebuild kit for it just for funsies. But that will be after it's running and driving. And then we got the new one, we put it on the bench, we connected things up, and after an initial sort of stiction, I'm assuming that is fresh out of the box, and it just needed something.
The French instructions said it was tested.
Yeah, pretty
So,
much.
yeah.
It works perfectly. It jumps the cog forward, spins it, does everything absolutely fine. So we threw that on, got that all bolted back up, which is nice. Then we started on the carb, because you had questions that I could not answer, because when we did the carb, we didn't know these things, because we don't know what we're doing.
Set the transfer slots to square.
Yep. Apparently, the 4 barrels have transfer slots, don't know what they are, and they needed to be square. Don't know what that means.
It's a groove in the sidewall of the...
Yeah. So this is what I
door.
learned now.
Yeah.
So we got that sorted. Turns out we'd done that correctly. Then you very astutely pointed out we had no gaskets. So we got some Kellogg's brand gaskets from a cereal box and traced the phenolic plate out so that we had everything and sandwiched them together, covered them in grease so they don't bake themselves on, and we can actually maybe even reuse them if we ever feel the need. And then we started just like fighting with power and batteries, and it all went wrong.
I mean, we got a few of the plugs in.
Yeah, we got the plugs back in, cleaned up, so they're kind of ready to go. They all look fine inside, but something TM in the wiring is very, very unhappy, and we found part of it.
I'm pretty sure your fusible link is...
You're going to have to explain the fusible link, because I just can't bring myself to do it.
So in the 60s...
It's just the worst thing in the world.
So there's a piece of, like, 10
I'd just like to point out, there is a fuse box in this car under the dash.
Yeah. It
It
uses
does
little...
have loads of fuses.
Yeah, they use little glass fuses, but your main power does not have a fuse under the hood, because glass fuses are somewhat fragile and probably kind of weather sensitive. So they put like 2 pieces of probably, I'll say 8 gauge wire, pretty heavy duty stuff. It's fairly thick.
Yeah, give or take. Yeah.
Yeah. So that jumps...
Oh, going in and out?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
That kind of jumps off of your starter relay, which is separate from the starter. It's a Ford thing. And runs off along the fender into wing, into the cabin, whatever. But there's just this little plastic block.
What if we had an aluminum wing?
Then you'd be a plane.
Damn it.
This is why like I said, great job, great start on the English language. We finished it for you. You're welcome.
I maintain it's still...
Someday Scotland will send it to you.
I maintain it's still 3 other languages in a trench coat.
Scotland is never claiming the English language. We've fucked it up enough already.
So yes, this
anyway.
fusible link.
It's a piece of wire with 2 ring terminals clamped on it. It's just a smaller gauge wire that will melt and break the...
Like, it will go first, but by the same token, the fact that it's just 2 ring terminals with some thin wire... I mean, the wire is barely even as thick as this. Like, the cable that's going into it is more this kind of size. That's providing your power, but the fusible link is probably no thicker than this power cable.
Yeah.
And it has 2 ring terminals that go in, which is fine, but not after 60-some-odd years.
I think it got hot, or someone hit it, or it just... The ring terminal's what broke. It's not even the wire. So it just... Fatigue.
Yeah.
I mean...
Easily as. And this little... I guess it probably is like a phenolic plastic block with just 2 things through. That is exactly how they connect together. And oh my God, I wasn't sure. I thought, no, there's no way that can be the fuse. Yeah. And we went and I looked through the wiring diagram, and sure enough, this junction block is listed there with cable out to things, and then a little loop terminal that goes up, and there's a break in the line, and it says fuse. It's just like...
Yes.
I mean, I guess any small piece of wire, if it's smaller than your big wire, that's your fuse point. So,
yes.
Sure. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the right retrofit is just an inline fuse holder of some kind. They worked for a long time.
Yeah, amazingly. So the plan is going to be to fix that fuse block. That will hopefully power up the big fuse block in the dashboard, and then that will give power to the whole of the dashboard, including the key, which is why when we were doing it, Chris, the key did nothing. Like the goggles, the key did absolutely nothing. Nothing lit up on the dash because it had no power because that link was broken.
Yeah, invest in alligator clips. I've also accidentally made a fusible link before.
I was going to say, how do you accidentally make a fusible link? But I think I know the answer.
It's where you accidentally short something, and the whole wire gets warm.
Yeah.
And then
and then melts.
Insulation kind of falls off.
Yeah. What does it mean when this light is glowing? What, this 6-inch light from point to point? When this light comes on, what does it mean? It means bad. That's the bad light.
It means I grabbed a pliers and ripped it off.
Yes.
Still burnt my hand. It was not a good time.
Yeah, pretty much. So yes.
Stopped the car parking down.
Yes, pretty much.
I did, yes.
And I did mention to John that my dad's car, my dad had a Cortina 1600 GT, which was painted to look like a Lotus Cortina before he got it, but it wasn't a Lotus Cortina, and he got to work once, and that was how he learned, and there was smoke coming from underneath, and the wires were starting to melt, and that was how he discovered that Ford did not put a fuse box as standard into that car, because he then had to add one. And as much as he was trying to undo the battery as he was parked up outside work, the security guard came up and said, "Oh, you can't park there." Like, no, I'm not parking here. I'm trying not to have a fire here. But yeah, I thought that was particularly well done of the security guard to not get it.
Are you wanting ads to run during this stream?
Maybe they might.
I've never ever had this option pop up before. I can skip them.
Let's let it ride. See what it does.
And now a word from our sponsors.
Yeah. Also, can someone in chat tell me what the advert is for? Because obviously we don't see it. But now my curiosity will be
20
piqued.
seconds to ads.
Okay, so apparently there's going to be an advert in 20
For
seconds.
some of you, I think.
For some of you, I guess. But yeah, we've never had this option before, so something's changed. So you can say no ads all you want. Unfortunately, on this occasion, they're happening because curiosity is winning.
And ad.
Right. So for all
Some
of
of you might not hear
yeah.
us right now.
So for all of you who are going to get an advanced look into the future, and everybody else who is now going to be offset. Wow, this is going to really disjoint chat, because some people are going to be like offset by the adverts, but also still in chat. I don't know how this is going to work. I'm really intrigued.
Doesn't everyone get the ad?
If you're not premium, so if you're premium,
Tell me afterwards about how you're paying for that, and I'll save you some money.
So yeah, so if you're a YouTube Premium, you skip all of the ads, and you don't get anything. I don't know. Well, if it just blanks over and just dumps it in, that's terrible. So are you asking, will it offset or will it just stop the output altogether?
Well, if you're on Twitch,
okay, yeah. So
it just dumps over.
Cool. So yeah, Chris has just confirmed. Fun. When you get an ad, it doesn't resume where you were. It just skips. Wow.
Yeah, that's the same as on Twitch.
Yeah.
So they just lose that time.
So they just lose
don't see
that section.
seconds.
Yeah, they just don't see that 30 seconds of the stream, which I guess is hilarious because you can just be like, and now for our non-premium members, an ad break, and then just have a premium chat.
Take my shirt off for like 15 seconds.
Time continues as it does for the rest of the world. Yeah, we just do like a 20-second strip show all of a sudden, and then just come back and be like, hi.
Everybody's out of breath and in different shirts. Like,
yep.
What happened? Everything.
So, yeah, it should... oh, okay, fair enough. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of dropping ads midway through a live stream. I normally tell it to do it at the start, maybe. I think it might also do one at the end, because it's not set to do one in the middle. But yeah.
I didn't do this, you said it.
No, I know. No, it's it did say something about the adverts, like, do you want YouTube to just handle the ads? What about mid-rolls? And I was like, just keep current settings. So it must have updated the settings to go, yes, you'd love to do some mid-rolls, and then kept them and just run them on, which, yeah, that kind of sucks. I'm pretty sure you can...
Where's the other half of my seatbelt?
Oh, it must have fallen out the back.
I don't feel safe.
Oh, no. Oh, yeah, that's the CG lock, by the way.
Just think
The what?
That we forgot to, we have a set of CG locks, and we completely forgot to install them in any of our cars. So if you imagine...
What does this do?
So if you put...
Just beware of shuffling around a lot with your mics on, by the way, guys.
So if that was locked into the bottom, this now can't move, but the top still can. So that locks across your center of gravity, hence the CG lock. So that locks you into the bottom of the seat, so your hips can't move around. But if you need to lean for something, you can still use the top half of the belt, and it holds you all in place. And somebody has the patent for it, and they won't make any more of them. So they are like gold dust.
There was a moment out there at the Nurburgring where both me and Aid were having a conversation with one another, going, "You know what we're really good about now?" He's like, "Yeah, mine's is in the Audi," and I went, "Yeah, mine's is in the Fiesta."
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. And, well,
and
not
one
only
right
is
here.
one on the Audi, I think there's one in the A3, and there is one in the studio on a seat that doesn't travel anywhere, that doesn't move. Like, I would accept leaving one in a car, but the fact that we leave one on a bench seat in a studio is kind of dumb.
My favourite bit is that makes that the most expensive piece of set decoration you have.
Yeah, probably.
Because they are now 3 figures.
Yeah, the TV is old and therefore not worth very much. This tyre's rather nice, but as second hand, probably not worth very much.
What about that tire?
That tyre is a fun story. That was Chris's brother's tyre that, as he was driving his 318 IS, just went and shat itself, and this was all that was left on the wheel. I don't know. This is probably worth quite a bit. This is a fairly rare Big Willie Robinson Daytona street racer. Yeah.
Where did you find that?
I got given it by Terry. So yeah, that's quite cool.
That's
with
incredible.
6 releases, because he's a member of the
Brotherhood. Yep.
of street racers. So yeah, he gave me one of those.
That's cool.
And Big Willie Robinson is who founded the Brotherhood way back when. So yeah, that might trump the CG lock as being the most expensive piece of set decoration. What else? Yeah, I think that's kind of it, you know. I mean, I guess I bought... Here's a horror show.
Oh, that's very expensive set decoration.
I mean,
This looks like a topographical map of Venezuela. Like,
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
What is it? Well, you can see here's the ocean.
Yeah.
Right here, and these are the Andes Mountains.
Let's
Yeah.
go for overhead cam for that one.
So if you flip that over...
Visit beautiful Nicaragua.
Yeah. So if you flip that over, it is painted.
Oh.
That used to be on the Thunderbird.
You know.
And somebody filled this thickness of sheet metal with this amount of Bondo.
It's like one of those cake decorating competitions. Not
Yeah.
the good ones, the ones with amateur chefs.
I think that camera is slightly out of focus.
Oh, okay.
I'll just try and fix that.
This is like
There we go.
I'm impressed.
Yeah.
And somehow they see, here's what impresses me here.
Oh.
I like to call this method the cave and pave because they literally just mashed this in with a hammer out of the way.
Yep.
And kind of used it as a mesh
Yeah.
to contain the new worms and boogers. See, that is probably expanded foam right there. That bit of it.
It's
This
not
is
good.
This is impressively bad. And
That's
they considered this to be a restoration.
Chris has just pointed out the fact that we own so many CG locks Chris said, "This feels like my SD1 water pump comment from the other week. These things are like rocking horse shit. I've got 3 of them." It's like, anything that is rare and you have 3 of, can't really say they're too hard to get hold of. But yeah, that was the back end of the Thunderbird before we fixed all of the rust on the rear quarter, and we found that and just broke down laughing because damn. I'm pretty sure that amount of Bondo weighs more than this whole piece of metal it's attached to.
Yes, the balance point's like here.
It's so bad, right?
It's just... why? It actually probably took longer to Bondo this several times and then sand it flat. Otherwise, you could just death wheel it off and put in a flat piece.
Yep. And everybody would be happier. Every single person would have a better time.
So, putting director hat on to steer conversation about before we have to
I
wrap
saw
up.
8 minutes, yeah.
Yep. Can we get some of John's opinions on the various cars out on the driveway, please?
Yes.
Rather than our weekend away before John has to...
Yes.
Oh,
so
I think I have snacks too.
yes, there are. So my plan was to you can review snacks, not with Rust and Bondo. You can review snacks and the cars on the driveway. So you've seen my Mark II Golf, which is obviously in pieces. So that's a pretty difficult one to give an opinion on. But really, the one that matters, considering we've worked on the Thunderbird, we took the GTO to the ring. What do you think of the kit car?
That is unhinged. Having the... I always thought it was pronounced Caterham?
Caterham?
Yeah. I don't know.
No.
Those are 2 words in the English language. Caterham, apparently?
Caterham. Cater. It's like you're unsure about how you should handle someone's food as you deliver it to them. Should I cater? No. And
letters, man.
some bar limeade.
That is unhinged. You've made it wider, longer, more powerful,
Yep.
far more complex.
Yeah.
It's 28 some odd donor vehicles.
13.
Okay. I love it.
At least, yeah. So we're still at. I think we're still at about 13. We did lose the Mini from that list because I broke the rear light cluster for the reverse and fog lights. But yeah, so that is a brandy snap. Traditionally, you would like get whipped cream and fill it with whipped cream as well, which is just excellent.
Pretty good.
The next one across, just behind those 2 packs of Jammy Dodgers, is Treacle Tart, for which I am also going to have a piece of Treacle Tart, and there is a third for M.
Would you like some tree?
It's, I warn you, it's quite sweet.
The kit car, it's amazing. Mm-hmm. I want to drive it.
Yeah. I mean,
Like
we'd
it's-
like to drive it as well, but
Yeah, you should get on that. It's a piece of engineering.
choices were made. They weren't necessarily good.
I've never had the wherewithal to build something like that. So it's very conceptually interesting.
Neither did we from the beginning.
Well, fair enough. I like the target top. Big fan of that. The driver's seat's on the wrong side. That kind of sucks. Just saying. Yeah, I love it, honestly. I think it's going to be pretty epic. And if it's planted on the track, you're going to be really pleased with all the work you've done.
Oh, yeah. That was not the sum that I was trying to do.
Pretty sure I used the glue like this to put up ceiling tiles once.
Quite possibly. So yeah, at the moment it should be about 250 horsepower per ton, which is reasonable. And then with the fettling that we can theoretically do to the map, we should get over 300 without having to change any internals, turbo, anything like that. Just stock everything.
And it's going to be really well balanced because the engine is in front of the rear axle,
Yes.
but behind the driver's seat.
Yeah. VW have done us a solid by leaning it forwards, which is terrible in every other instance unless you're putting it in the mid-engine. So this was obviously their design from the get-go. Yeah. So yes, so this is from our local farm shop, just down the road. Not the farm shop, which is a very, very different place that we don't talk about, FS. Which will make sense to about 4 people in chat at the moment. So the other ones, we have peach and apricot jammy dodgers and strawberry jammy dodgers, and then sticks of rock. How are you familiar with the concept of a stick of rock?
You mean a candy cane? It's a candy cane.
But they come this thick.
Yeah.
Okay.
Why?
What flavors do you normally have in candy canes?
It's kind of a crappy, minty sort of thing.
These are fairly heavy-duty mint. Yeah.
Both of them? Mm-hmm. But it's blue.
Sometimes they're not.
But it's still mint?
That one's probably still mint. You can get them in other flavors as well. It very much depends on where you get them from and what shops. However, as Vix says in chat, I would say they are stronger than a candy cane.
A candy cane would snap easier than those will.
Yeah.
Sticks of rock are aptly named for what they will do to your teeth.
So it's the candy equivalent of smoking crack.
Pretty much. And I'm reliably informed that there is writing in some of these.
There usually is. Normally that's one of the big things.
No, not in this one.
Is trying to make
Yeah,
it.
there's no writing written through the end. I think that one's too narrow. The bigger ones, the ones when they're about an inch in diameter, they normally have writing through the top. It's really interesting seeing them made because they layer up all of the pieces into something about this in diameter and then roll it down and it just shrinks in proportion. It's incredible. It's so cool to watch because they just take it and they just make it in slabs and then like just slap it and you look at it and go, well, that's kind of looks a bit terrible. But then when you put it through the rollers, it shrinks and shrinks and shrinks, but it's all proportional, just kind of stretches and shrinks out. It's amazing. So yeah. We might be about to be delivered one that actually has writing inside. There you go.
Why?
Well, you'd have the seaside town name or something. Which
This is a police baton made out of sugar.
That's
Yeah.
small.
and that's
That's
still
small, and we
that's
give that to children.
that's the smallest size you'll generally get like writing inside of, because otherwise it becomes illegible. You can get much bigger ones.
We bought Tony, my friend, one that's like that.
Yeah, it was about 2 inches in diameter,
It was huge.
This is one
and
of
it's
those
just
really
sugar.
We're gonna have to blur this, like in post. Why?
There is 3 really strange British traditions of things you buy people when you're on holiday.
Yep.
1 is tea towels, 2 is fridge magnets, 3 that stuff.
Yep.
Especially if you go to the seaside.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And we went to Whitby. What do you buy?
Yeah, we went to the seaside. We bought rock.
We bought
Just
one,
it's the law.
We bought one proper stick of rock, and then we bought a bag of broken rock.
Yeah, misc bits. So yeah, we have plenty for you to take back with you to try and smuggle in.
I feel like I'm gonna get cavity searched.
And, and as Greg says, you forget the 4th one on the list: teaspoons, tea towels.
No.
Oh, did you say tea towels? Sorry.
That was the first thing she said.
Yeah.
Tea towels is 1.
Tell me about
Yeah.
limeade.
So it's like lemonade, but lime. So it's a little greener, but bar is sort of. It's about the biggest British supplier.
This smells like margarita mix, and maybe
Yeah.
that's telling.
Pretty much. It has no alcohol in it, but yeah,
We totally should have bought some iron brew.
should have brought some iron brew.
What is this worthless margarita?
If you wanted me to really mess that man's head up, I could have brought down some red cola.
There you go.
Red cola?
Yep.
Oh, lucky.
Oh,
Oh no, I would never. No, I would never. What's the best way to phrase that?
Inflict, yeah.
Yes, I would never inflict Buckfast on anybody.
Bucky!
They hit the bottle of it in the loft.
Yeah, Buckfast is a tonic wine.
It
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
And I will
It's-
happily go to my grave being able to state I have never drank it.
So, Buckfast tonic wine is considered a cocktail by Google, which I think is
Stretching it somewhat.
yeah, just a bit. Manufactured at the Buckfast Abbey of the Benedictine monks in the 1890s. And apparently in 19
something like 90% of the world supply is sold in Scotland.
yeah,
Have you had
which is surprising considering its origins are Devon. Like I'd always for so long thought, oh, it's a Scottish thing, it's a Scottish thing, it's a Scottish thing. It is not a Scottish thing at all. It's drunk in Scotland at 15% ABV, but it is a fortified wine with caffeine.
so it's like
Buckfast tonic wine,
1890s for Loco.
pretty much, yeah.
I have genuinely seen in Scotland around Christmas time Bucky gift wrapped bags where it's a nice little hamper thing, you know, the plastic wrapping with a bow in it. And inside it is a bottle of Buckfast, a set of skins, tobacco, and filters for your Ned that you love.
Yeah. Apparently, the brown bottle, which has 0.055% caffeine by volume, has a similar caffeine content to an espresso at 60 milligrams per 100 mil.
Nothing like getting hammered, but being awake for it.
The green bottle, which they sell in the UK, has a slightly lower percentage. At 37 milligrams a 100.
Alarming scientific fact I do know. Caffeine and alcohol are both adenosine blockers.
Oh, really?
Which make you feel not tired, briefly. Which
Pretty much.
means they're both working at once. And they both stop working at once.
I've just seen a picture on the wiki of a tanker with Buckfast in. If we can just throw my laptop up again.
Did you get to try Malort while you were at my house last?
I don't think so, no.
Okay, that's a Chicago tradition you're gonna have to try.
This is a lot of Buckfast. Or it's a couple of days worth in Scotland.
This one company Christmas party.
Yes. I mean, well, it's starter anyway. Greg just said, Malort, you monster.
Don't Google it. You just have to try it when you come over.
Fair enough. He also said, yeah, they were saying about caffeine and alcohol. It's not only will you be in pain, you'll be awake for it too. That's basically it. Where is the other one?
Okay, I'm gonna spoil it. One of the made-up taglines for Malort is "Kick your mouth in the balls." Yeah, it's a good one.
Jepson's Malort. Okay. Is it American brand of Basque liquor? It's a type of Branavan favoured with anise or wormwood.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It's so strange. It's such a weird flavor.
That reminds me of that stuff you brought me back from Greece.
Oh, and Uzo.
Ouzo.
No. It was a local thing, and it was like green, and it had.
It wasn't
that
absinthe, but it
aniseed.
looked
Yeah.
like it could
It
be
had bits in it.
absinthe. Yeah. God.
The other thing they do at the seaside is they.
Oh, Malort is the Swedish word for wormwood,
That makes
which is
sense.
also in absinthe.
Hey, absinthe.
So yeah, that's
It's a Cumberland sausage,
It-
but it's just a marshmallow.
It's just a 1.5-foot marshmallow rope.
yep.
But it's a Cumberland sausage, though. That's what they do at the seaside.
And now for a moment of science. Apparently, Malort is extremely low in a chemical I cannot possibly pronounce.
Go on, try.
Thujon? Like this is not following any any system of naming chemicals. Like, I know it's a ketone, that's fine. If it had its proper chemical name here, I could probably give it a go. But
Share it with the class. Put it on the screen.
so it is 1S4R5R4 methyl 1-propan 2-yle hexathrone,
Yeah.
which is a mouthful, and yet still pronouncing that is harder.
What?
Thujon.
Thujon. Okay, fair enough. So apparently Malort is very low in Thujon, whereas absinthe is very high in Thujon, and that is the problem. Thujon acts on a GABA receptor as an antagonist, which Thujon alone is considered to be a convulsant. So the fact that Malort has minimal amounts is great. And that's why absinthe
You'll
is so...
still convulse.
Yeah.
It's not good, which is why it's especially among Chicago, of all places, you must do 3 of them on your 21st birthday, usually in a row.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. And it kind of tastes like what I imagine burnout pit water tastes like. Like
Okay.
the rubbery smoke and like a little bit of spent coolant or
Yeah.
like
Some brake fluid for, like, zest.
if
you know?
somebody melted down RoboCop. I don't really know. What if a Red Bull was left in the sun for like way too long, and the can sort of became part of it?
So Cape had said, imagine Jaeger without the charm.
That's
I'm
it.
like,
That's the one.
That sounds like it. Was it? No, Damo said, is it Grappa that I brought you? But no, it wasn't Grappa.
No, it
Grappa's
wasn't. No, I've
awful
had
as well.
Grappa, Yeah.
Aid says, absinthe daiquiris for everyone. It sounds like a bottle of foof. And Greg says, you remember Unicum? I'd rather drink that. I have drunk an alarming amount of Unicum in one night. I had 4 doubles. So I had 8 shots of it because nobody else who was served it for free by the man behind the bar that owned the hotel we were staying in wanted to drink it. One guy went, that smells like Benylin, and just by which point I'd already gone, wow, that's funky, and I'd necked mine, and everybody went, Aid loves it, so I got everyone else's, and that was on a ring trip. I wasn't driving, and that was my worst trip back from the ring ever because I was in a Tommy Mackinnon, an Evo 6 Tommy Mackinnon with a huge boomy exhaust and a magic little switch under the dashboard that turned on the rally grade anti-lag. That's not good with a hangover. Thanks for that, Em. But yeah, it's just it genuine. It does just taste like cough mix. There's nothing particularly horrendous about it, but it's not like, ooh, I'd just like a nice glass of cough mixture, you know? Like, that'd be lovely. You don't drink cough mix for fun.
Have you been to the South?
I didn't. They do it, but do they do it for fun or out of necessity?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. Necessity in order to have fun. Got it.
I think the technical term is scissorp.
Yes, it is.
Cough medication
'Cause I've
and
heard.
Sprite.
Yeah, because I've heard that term.
The kids now are calling it lean.
Oh, okay.
I believe because the last thing you'll remember is
It's the
leaning.
It's trying to lean on something and missing, like Del Boy.
Yeah, you kind of.
That reference.
No,
It's not great for motor skills.
but it's great for degreasing motors, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you could clean up like a murder with it. It's probably good for that.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's certainly a choice, you know. But that's okay. So I've got that to look forward to in at least a small volume, as does Vix, who has just entered the room and is currently subbing in for M, whilst M, I presume, has run to the loo. And I've just realised I didn't set that camera's colour balance correctly back from when I was in the States, and that is a bugger.
I can always do like a little Scottish.
Oh, damn it. Oh, well, never mind. I should have noticed that earlier on in the stream, but
Am I blending into the wall, or do I have enough sunburn that I can...
No. I mean, I've...
Ooh!
Yeah.
Is that a vein?
Mmm.
That's good.
It's showing out.
He just doesn't wash. It's not a tan.
Savage. We went. We were driving. Jess and I were driving through California a couple of weeks ago. And we're like, oh wow, this is quite nice. It's 14, 15, 16 degrees. This is lovely. And then all of a sudden, look down. It's 29. It's 30. It's 31 degrees. What the hell is Celsius? What the hell is going on? Yeah, I forgot we drove out into the desert, and the desert is hot. And I didn't have any suntan cream, so my head is red, my face is red, my arms have weirdly gone brown.
I'm very disappointed.
But yeah, like my arms were black earlier because we were like elbow deep in the Thunderbird. But we got rid of that. So yeah, I think once Em gets back, we should probably wrap this stream up because it is 20 to 11, and in 6.5 hours you're going to be awake. I'm going to be awake, and I need to get you to Heathrow because you're flying back tomorrow.
Yep.
On the early flight.
Yep.
So yeah, that's going to be fun. But I'm hoping I actually fall asleep quite quickly tonight after 2 solid days of working on the car in horrendous weather.
You are now. Now you've jinxed it.
No, I've jinxed it. Yeah, I know. No, I get.
I'm full of British sugar, so I'm going to be up a while.
Oh yeah, we should have done this right at the start, shouldn't we?
I did wonder, but
Oh well.
It'll be fine.
that's sugar-free.
Yeah, this is like if you let all the ice melt in your margarita is what this tastes like.
Pretty much, yeah. Basically
Genuinely,
that.
I would like to try that one. I've not tried that, and it is sugar-free, so
So you can.
I can. Yeah, I didn't know they were sugar-free. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So yes, there should be more videos coming soon from the Nurburgring. We've got one video where we were finishing painting the GTO to make sure that it would get through the barriers, because obviously they can't see what goes wrong on track. So we just needed to make sure it got through. Then we've got more track videos, so I'll probably just start putting the laps up with like your sort of intermittent footage spliced into it as well. So we've got some extra camera angles. We've also got the dash cam, which also looked out the back on Em's laps, which was really, really good. So we've got some rear view going around the track, which I once used as a background for a Zoom meeting that I was in and made everybody feel unwell. Because I just had it on loop of going round the track, but like I was driving the car in inverted commas. You could just see the rear window of like the track disappearing, because we were told that we needed to find. We didn't get the GTO dashcam footage, but we had the GoPro in throughout, so it was as good as. It was just one more thing I didn't get around to testing ahead of time, and as a result, didn't do anything with. So yeah. We are pretty much out of time for this one because sleep is super required. Thanks very much for John for coming over.
Thank you for having me.
It's been good fun. We should do this again.
Yeah.
See you next time.
And we'll. I'm actually going over to John's in September, and then hopefully we're going down to duct tape, maybe potentially. With or without, well, we're going with a vehicle, but it'll be a hired one. You may or may not be in a vehicle or a plane.
I would love to say that this is even remotely possible at this point. But all I had to do today was make a starter and a distributor work.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, yeah, but we didn't get either of them working, so you have to come back and finish the job, right? I will try and sort better weather. We'll do it not on a bank holiday. Oh, we have a Luna. Hi, Luna. Are you coming to inspect the terrible bits of Thunderbird, or you're just eyeballing down the camera? Right. Okay. So, thank you very much for watching. If you haven't already, go and follow him at
Mad Scientist Garage.
There we go. I should have given you a heads up. I was going to hand off to you. I can't understand how you could have possibly found this without being subscribed to it, but if you haven't, go and subscribe. Check out shop.pedalbox.show for some merch, like the stuff I'm obviously not wearing, because go me. And you can be a patron if you want at patreon.com/pedalboxshow. Have you got a patron?
Nope.
Okay, don't go and support him at Patreon. You are on Instagram and Facebook and all the rest of them with stuff for doing miscellaneous pictures.
Yep.
And you're doing LS Fest next?
Hopefully.
Assuming something works anyway,
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah,
Cool.
lots of good content. Follow us both. We'll be back together again soon.
Yeah, and we'll get these two videos, because you filmed a video from this week. This is, well, just from working on these cars, and I've done one as well. So we have some stuff. I do have a number of videos on my cars to put out, which that was meant to go out whilst I was away over the last 4 weeks, and that just completely fell apart. So yeah, go me. There will be an enormous amount of content coming soon, TM. Now that I'm back in the country for a large chunk of time, not having to travel to sort out other things. So yeah, great. Thank you very much for watching. Hopefully this has been an entertaining ramble, and we will see you next time on, well, probably not live with you, but we are trying to get something worked out so that we can do a phone-in.
Ooh.
We've got a PC behind that wall, which is kind of rigged up. And we did test it once with you, and we got the video working, and the audio was garbage. Didn't work at all. So that is currently on the cards to try and get fixed. So we might be able to have you back on virtually on here.
Cool.
And at least now you'll be you like know what you're looking at. You know where you are now. So yeah.
I've seen the man behind the curtain.
Dun, dun. And you've seen how the sausage is made. That's
Right.
always the terrifying point. Right. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time, and hopefully you'll all wait for the new content, which will be coming this week, like Thursday, Friday, something like that. Thanks again. See you later.